Gary Hart.
Yeah, Bill Burr's in that.
Yeah, he plays
saw
a
picture of
reporter
it,
or whatever.
I was like, that's what?
And he looks great with a mustache.
Yeah, he looks weird when he's not fuming with Boston rage.
I thought that was a good trailer. Kind of want to see that.
Yeah, it looked like surprisingly more intense.
Like the
than I
last
thought it would be.
political thriller I saw that I enjoyed was The Ides of March. Did you ever see that movie?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
With
It had Ryan Gosling and George Clooney were in it.
George Clooney, and they like apparently like in it Ryan Gosling, like the plot is like he's part of Clooney's like campaign or whatever, and he like kills a hooker or something like that.
Yeah,
and so it's
that's
just
based
dealing
off
with
of
that.
that's based off of a book.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember exactly like who it was by. It's probably like some snooty
it was
socialist writer.
It's one of Philip Hoffman's last movies.
Was it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Was it good? You said it was good.
I thought it was pretty good. For just a what I thought was going to be like a boring ass like political thriller thing, which are usually I'm just like meh.
Yeah, I thought it looked interesting. All the political movies that I like are about like old presidents. Like I like Lincoln. I liked the HBO miniseries with Paul Giamatti where he's John Adams.
Really?
That's really good.
Paul Giamatti is John Adams. That's great.
And I like there was two movies about LBJ recently. One was balls and one was really solid. One is by Rob Reiner with Woody Harrelson as LBJ, and it was not very good because it doesn't focus on anything political at all. It's just kind of like Kennedy gets killed, and then LBJ, Woody Harrelson in horrible LBJ prosthetic makeup pretends to be LBJ. And the other one was an HBO miniseries where Bryan Cranston plays LBJ, and it's actually really good. Yeah.
So here's some movie news.
We're rolling, by the way.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I just let it Mark Mayer into this one.
What? No, dude, we can't do a cold open like that. That's crazy.
You don't want to?
I mean, it's off brand.
It's off brand. We did it for the Sorry to Bother You episode, too.
We did?
Yeah. You told me to leave all that shit in, and I left it in at the beginning.
Okay, fine, whatever. We've been rolling.
We're rolling, babies. You're listening to this. It's the movie date. The smuggest, freest podcast
talking
ever.
about fucking Michael Clayton in here or whatever. I just want to think that that's like the sequel to Ides of March.
Yeah. For everyone listening to this, I was out for like we were out for like 2+ weeks on this one. We're doing the Bad Times at the El Royale.
Can we tell the story about how we were able to see that movie? Because I think it's worthy.
Yeah. So we were into the what was the theater? It was the Cinemark in Conway.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle of the movie. It'd been playing for about 30 minutes.
All of a sudden, these alarms start going off. My first thought is active shooter. I'm like, and I could tell everyone around us too was just like,
oh no,
on edge.
There's that part of where you're like your heart stinks up into your chest, and you're like, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but then everyone was like, murmur. Let's go to the exits.
Yeah, and then like we talked to the manager, and it was like the air conditioner got too hot and started a small smoky fire. And they still shut it down, even though it was probably fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so like, I'll watch it without ventilation. I don't care.
Yeah, and we got 2 free movie passes because
2.
Yeah, because we were subterfuge.
We stayed there until like all the crowds had left, and I was sitting there like hands and nose pressed on the glass, like when can I see my movie?
Yeah, we were engrossed, and I think we wanted to see the end. And we asked like
we made it like halfway through the movie.
Yeah. There was and then the portly manager came to the thing, and he was like, we're not going to open up again. I was like, well, can we get some movie passes? Yeah. And then he went to go get some, and then another lady came out, and I was like, hey, can we get some movie passes? And then we got 2 movie passes from both of them, and I didn't say shit.
A little dishonest, but hey.
Yeah. They're a giant, like the markup on the sodas more than makes up for.
Jeez.
Yeah, for one thing. Didn't you go and get a beer we went to the rave after that?
Yeah, we did. We did go to the rave.
Yeah, and you and Sarah got beer, and it was like $9 and part your left finger or something.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Yeah,
it's like I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so like it took us like 4+ hours to finish this movie.
Not to mention like having to rewatch the first half.
Yeah.
Within the same like 3 hours of it. Like
that's definitely true.
It was a little much.
We came out pretty positive on it, considering all the circumstances surrounding it, which was pretty good.
So we got some movie news. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are teasing plot details for their A Quiet Place sequel that I guess is already penned.
What?
Yeah,
He's dead. Spoiler alert. He's dead in the movie.
I guess he still wants to keep it's his French. Maybe he didn't die.
Maybe it'll be like Dennis Leary in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Ghost Dad.
Yeah.
John Krasinski, Ghost Dad.
Or Sir, whatever his, like Ghost Ben Kenobi.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched
Flashbacks, man. Flashbacks. We can't discount flashbacks.
Yeah.
Flashbacks are now an integral part of theater.
Yeah. Especially the blockbusters. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I'd watch. Would you watch another Quiet Place thing?
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was a decent film.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go back and listen to our podcast about it. We don't need to rehash that. But,
Where you shit on John Krasinski the whole time. Like, what was wrong? I thought it was fine. No, because he has a weird cackle into the air before he dies, which I thought was beautiful and you thought was lame.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'd watch another one. I want to see how many of them there are, and I want to see more survivors, and I want to see like how it's
That's what I want to see. I want to see more of the survivors. I want to see like how they build their communities.
Yeah, I want to see how it's affected the world writ large.
And this is all coming from Entertainment Weekly, mind you.
It's probably pretty legit then.
My stream of movie news. We've got the biggest contenders according to Entertainment Weekly for the Oscars this year are Star is Born and
fuck.
Black Panther, which I've been told
for what categories though.
Let me look. But here's the thing, like I kept hearing that Marvel was really, really, really pushing Black Panther for award season rather than.
It's not going to win anything. It'll win like maybe best screenplay because I thought the screenplay was solid. It won't win for like best actor or anything like that or best picture. They always give it to like they'll give it to a snooty.
It's calling Black Panther Ryan Coogler's monolithic achievement.
Do you think that's true?
No, I feel like it was just another superhero movie at its, like
I liked it.
I'm not discrediting like
I liked it more than you did, but I don't disagree. I think that's a silly thing to say.
Like here's the thing.
Like Creed is a better movie if we're being honest.
Like I've got a few black friends and they were like, no, it's not fucking Malcolm X or anything. It's another superhero movie. Yeah, it's cool that there's a black superhero movie, but that's about it. Like monolithic achievement. I don't understand it, to be quite honest.
Yeah. He's gonna be doing Black Panther 2 and stuff.
And like A Star is Born, like I'm sick of like remakes. Being the big thing.
Funny story about this. When we first saw the trailer to it, you looked at me like, "Oh, that's really dumb" or something, and I was like, "I think it looks okay." And you said it was you said it was a remake, and I was like, "What?"
It's like the third remake of this story.
They've all snuck in under the radar for me. I didn't know anything about that. So, yeah, fine. Yeah, I'm sure it's we're shitting on it a lot. We're embracing some of the smug on that one, but it looks fine.
We're also looking at some for Best Picture. This film called Roma from director Alfonso Cuarón.
He did Children of Men, which is an awesome.
Which he also did Gravity. So that won some awards, I remember. We're also looking at Best Picture, Best Actor for Green Book, which that's got Viggo Mortensen, and then your guy, Mahershala Ali.
Yeah. That's supposed to be pretty good. It's supposed to be like a feel-goody kind of thing. I'd probably see that. That guy's good.
And, obviously Black Panther. I'm just scrolling down the list here. Possibly Best Picture, possibly Best Director for Can You Ever Forgive Me? I don't know
what was the last movie?
It's a Melissa McCarthy movie.
What was the last movie before Infinity War? Was it Black Panther?
Yeah, it was Black Panther.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, like, it's a shame Logan isn't on there. Like, Logan's last year. So I was like, it wouldn't be on there.
Some of these are, like, movies that didn't even receive, like, big, wide releases, seemingly.
Yeah.
Like, First Man.
That's how they do it. And a lot of these movies came out in, like, the last month and a half.
Beautiful Boy. I've been told that's really good.
Yeah. They sort of shove all these movies in the last month before January.
Like, dude, I want to see mid-90s, like, so bad, but I don't know where the heck it's playing around here.
I saw it at the rave. It was at the rave when we went and saw Bad Times at the El Royale. There's so many movies we needed to go. I wanted to go see The Hate You Give before we saw Halloween. I saw Halloween, by the way.
How was that?
It's not bad. It sort of.
I mean, this is your forte anyway. I'm not.
I don't even like the Halloween movies that much.
I'm not a horror guy anyway.
It's not my forte either. I don't think they're very scary. You know what I'm tired?
How was Jamie Lee Curtis? Was she a badass?
She's great. Yeah, she gives it her all. Judy Greer's in it. It feels some of the twists and turns are kind of like she's built like a fortress inside of her house, waiting on the day for him to come back and stuff. Like that was cool, but like, Michael Myers by this point has to be like
60.
Yes, and like I don't care how big of a stunt guy you put in that mask. At some point, I'd like to see him get hurt. Like there's a point in the movie where she like shoots off 2 of his fingers and stuff, and you don't even hear him scream. And I was like, I don't care how badass of a sociopath. Him being like a gritty, unstoppable monster is only cool in the sense that like he's human. It's like, you remember that time we talked about like female action heroes and how they don't have grit? I want some grit from these movies. I thought there's some parts.
I thought we discussed that like in Tomb Raider. Like, that movie kind of fixed a lot of that.
Yes, and I want a little, like, she delivers a lot of grit, but there's so many parts of the movie that just sort of reek of horror cliches. There's a part in the movie that it's actually it's one of the better parts and one of the worser parts all at the same time. So he gets into the house that has all like the fortress stuff set up. There's like a little bunker in the kitchen where like the center island where you make omelets or whatever slides over, and you can go downstairs into like the legit fortress, and there's one way down and there's a bunch of guns, and you just wait there for him to come down, which is a smart idea.
Right.
That was like that. And each room has a little
gonna Spartan the shit.
Yeah, and each room, like the entrance to each door of every room in the house has like a little platform where you can shut down a big thing of iron bars to seal off the room. So she goes through the house and clears every room, you know, as she's sort of tracking him down, because for a 60-year-old man, he's incredibly nimble and impossible to hear when he gets away from you. And like he goes up, we know he's upstairs because she's cleared every room downstairs, every single one. And she knows he's up there, and there's 2 rooms upstairs. So there's a part where there's a part when she goes up the stairs. I'm like, why are you doing that? You know he's up there.
Just wait for him to come down.
Wait for him to come down. And I was like, little things like that just make me roll my eyes. I don't find the movie scary, although there's a couple of cool like death scenes that are like pretty raw.
Yeah.
And I like that it gets back to like how in the first, I remember one of my favorite parts of the first Halloween movie is like there's a part where he's inside the house and I can't remember if it was Jamie Lee Curtis or one of the other like teenage girl actors, but you just see him behind someone as they're watching. Like someone comes in the house and he's just walking in the darkness behind them. And they don't even make a big deal. There's no jump scares or like they don't like swell up the music to make it more intense. Like he's in the house and you have no idea, but only the audience knows. They do a couple of those moments that I thought are really cool in the movie. I don't think it's amazing, and if they're smart, because it's made a lot of money, they would just let this be the last one. Because it ends in a way where I don't know if you ever want to. Do you want to see this? Do you care if I spoil it?
I don't give a damn.
Okay. At the end,
spoiler alert.
At the end of the movie, they pull a fast one on Michael Myers. Judy Greer is Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter,
right? And
she's like, "Oh, I haven't had a relationship with my mother in forever." She was so overcome by what Michael Myers did to her, and she has PTSD. There's a part in the movie where Jamie Lee Curtis goes to see Michael get transferred from the prison, which, by the way, at that point...
What's the point?
Yeah, when you transfer him from a prison, you think he's going to... you think that's what the plot's going to go like, that's when he gets out. Because, like, this random dad and his son who...
Do you get to see his face?
I came in right as the movie started, and you kind of see, like, the side of his face. I don't know if at the beginning you see his whole face. I came in mid-opening scene where he's in the middle of this giant courtyard, like with chains attached to this giant 400-pound metal thing, so he can't move. And he's in a square, and they say, "Don't get in the square." And one of these people doing this documentary, that's how the movie opens, is they're interviewing him and Jamie Lee Curtis, and they go in, and one of the guys, just to taunt him, brings the mask to see if there's a reaction. There's basically no reaction. He doesn't even seem that intimidating. He seems almost afraid of the mask, which I thought that was a cool idea. And of course, they're transporting him on the bus. Jamie Lee Curtis has to see it because it's a PTSD thing, and she's overcome with emotion when she sees the bus finally move. And then 5 minutes later, you come on the bus scene. Like the bus has crashed immediately somehow, and there's this hunter and his kid, and they come out and they see like they go and investigate, like, "Oh, son, call the cops. I'm gonna go see what happened." And there's a deputy on the ground who like broke his leg. It's like, "You have to run. He's loose." And I was like, if it's somebody like that, like is that brutal of a serial killer in a supermax prison, just let him die in there. Don't don't try to transport him somewhere because it's horror movie cliches.
What is it? You lock the door and throw away the key, man.
Yeah, or
What you
something.
do.
Yeah, because like you don't think he's gonna try.
But honestly, Rob, they were like, what else are they gonna do if they want to make another Halloween movie?
Yeah, I get it. He's a man and he has to escape from a place to kill somebody, and they end almost each movie with him in custody or something. And
they can't just like redo Silence of the Lambs or anything.
Fair enough. I mean, they sort of ignore the Rob Zombie ones in this one, and I'll skip to the end because I'm rambling. So we get to the end, and Judy Greer puts on a nice little acting show because he doesn't know where her mom is, but she hears Michael Myers' big over-the-top. It's amazing how he can be a ghost and vanish into the darkness, but when he wants to, he'll have giant, intimidating stomps in the entire movie to tell you that he's coming. But so he gets to the edge of that trap door that leads down to that fortress basement, and Judy Greer's like, "I can't, Mom, I'm not strong enough." And then Michael Myers, like a moron, goes, "Oh, this will be easy," and he shows himself in the big corridor up the stairs so she can see him, and she goes, "Gotcha." Bam, and she clocks him like right in the chest or something. And I was like, yeah, that was clever. I liked that. And then they have to get up the stairs now. So they get up the stairs, and right when they get up the stairs, he kind of comes back from unconsciousness, and Jamie Lee Curtis comes out with like a deer handle knife, and all three of them, her daughter and her granddaughter, overpower him down the stairs. And as he comes back up the stairs, Jamie Lee Curtis hits the switch, and there's a bunch of big spikes come and stop over the entrance to lead up to over the top of the stairs. So he's trapped in the basement, and then she lights a thing on fire and throws it down there. And I was like, good, that's the end. I don't need another one where he's 70 years old this time and somehow yeah.
So for Best Picture, we're looking at like The Hate U Give, Black Klansman.
Nice.
This is just like who Entertainment Weekly is seeing on these. Best Documentary.
Do you have the rest of the Best Pictures by chance? I wouldn't mind hearing the rest of those.
I mean, the nominees haven't even been announced, have they?
Oh, okay. Never mind.
They won't be for a while.
Yeah.
This is just who they are.
Yeah.
In the boiling pot. They're looking at like Ethan Hawke as Best Actor for First Reformed.
Yeah, I heard that was pretty great.
And then Viola Davis for Best Actress for Widows.
Oh, that hasn't come out yet. We have to see that.
I want to see it real bad.
Yeah, me too.
Real bad.
I love the guy who directed that. I've loved every movie he's done.
Nicole Kidman's actually got two different ones on here for Destroyer and for
Aquaman, baby.
Fuck Aquaman, Jesus.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Won't You Be My Neighbor, Best Documentary Feature. I really need to see that.
What does she do on there? Is she did she create that?
Oh, no. Nicole Kidman for Destroyer and
I thought you meant like she produced Won't You Be My Neighbor.
And Boy Erased. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I saw trailers for that stuff. We need to see some more of these.
Yeah, we need to get our smug on, Rob. I know that they're Oscar baities, but I mean they're Oscar baity for a reason, right?
I did want to see The Hate U Give, and then we just never got around to it. So and now like a lot of the good ones are about to come out. So we'll probably see Widows and probably like another one before November's out. November seems to be there's a nice little dead spot where we can catch a lot of these.
All right, here's what I'll do. I'll watch mid-90s, you watch The Hate U Give, and we'll both watch Widows.
And we're going to do a cast for each of them where one of us explains.
Well, I mean, like you saw Halloween. I didn't. You were able to give, a little bit of a, spiel on it. We're good. We're good. We can move along.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do it on the Widows podcast.
So we don't have to spend like 30 minutes on each season of
which was your idea.
It was not.
It was your idea. I'm not letting you get away with that. That was your idea.
God. Anyway, we are here to talk about
I have some movie news.
Oh, go ahead.
I texted you on Facebook, but I want to get your thoughts. First look at The Witcher, Henry Cavill.
It looks like Henry Cavill is trying to cosplay. What it looks like Legolas is trying to like cosplay Sephiroth.
Yeah. Are you encouraged by what you saw?
I mean, it's okay. It looks all right, I guess.
Here's one thing that I noticed about it. One or two things actually. One, they changed his eye color. They gave him contacts. He's got like brown eyes.
He's supposed to have like cat eyes.
Yeah, which would be cool. And also, if you look on the little clacky thing when they say action, If you read on that before he walks up,
Does
it
say
says
hair and makeup?
Yeah, it says hair and makeup test. So hopefully, because the one thing that I didn't like about it was one, he needs a beard. Henry Cavill can grow a nice beard, and he
Well,
should grow
here's
one.
the thing. They're not basing, because they explain that, because a lot of people were pissed off.
Can you move your mic back from you just like a hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of tilted down, so it's getting that big boomy chest voice.
I'll tilt you down.
That's fine.
So like they're trying to base the Netflix series off of the Witcher novels, which came first. And in the novels,
before they came before the games?
They did. And in the novels, there's even a big thing about the guy who wrote the novels trying to get, like, he sued Project CD Red, the developer of the Witcher games, for like a bunch of money, trying to get like royalties. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. In the books, it literally describes Geralt as clean shaven and gets annoyed when he has stubble or whatever. So
that could be cool. Do you think that's an important detail, or is it just like a fanboy? Is that like a fanboy soapbox criticism?
I think it's
like if he isn't clean shaven, are you going to be this is outrageous? Or if he has like a full beard, are you like that's not the way it's supposed to be?
I don't care either way, honestly.
Fair enough.
Because I'd never read the books, and I'd only played the third Witcher game, so
I didn't know those books came before the game. That's interesting. It's very interesting. One thing that I hope they improve, which I'm pretty sure they will, that outfit is very sparse. In fact, when you go up, he just has kind of an old-timey leather jerkin.
Yeah.
I want like the straps and the weapons and all the stuff.
Yeah,
like,
man.
I want them to dish it out. So I bet you by the time we get like a trailer for it or something, it'll be
Here's what we're
solid.
not going to get. We're not going to get everybody's idea of Geralt, which is pretty much the Witcher 3 version. Okay?
Yeah.
We're not going to get that. We're going to get something probably a little more grounded, a little more like that he can actually move around and do sword play in the thing,
Yeah. I just hope that, I hope it's solid. Like, I hope it's like the way they approach the set design and stuff, and like the weaponry. I hope it doesn't look silly. I want it to look like Lord of the Rings, legit.
Yeah, that'd be tight.
Is there anything you want to, before I have one more thing, is there anything you want to like talk about The Witcher? Like, have you played those games? Are you familiar with them? Because you're like the video game.
Yeah, I played the third installment.
So what is it about? Is he hunting down monsters
yeah, what
and witches?
It is, you've got like, it's set in like what would be like
alternate past?
Not like fantasy England, but like fantasy like Denmark, Iceland, like the Scandinavian area.
Me likey.
Okay, and so like all the monsters and shit,
maybe they'll have like a cool metal soundtrack.
all the monsters and shit are like based on those old folk tales and stuff. And so the idea of a Witcher is he's like a sword for hire, but he's enhanced and he's like
he knows
mutated himself, like his physical body and stuff. So he's seen as like a freak and shit, but people will still deal with him and pay him coin to get rid of their monster problems.
That sounds like a very interesting premise.
It is. It's a great premise
for a TV show. So,
and in the books and stuff, like again, I haven't like read the books or played the first two installments of the game, but like he's called like the Butcher of Blaviken. It's like one of his, he like Geralt essentially becomes famous throughout like that realm or whatever for all of these like crazy things he's done, like assassinate kings and shit and. It's like I think the tagline for the second game is like The Witcher, Assassin of Kings.
Cool. Yeah. I'm cool. Do you think Henry Cavill can pull it off?
I don't see why not.
Okay, fair enough.
As long as he can do an American accent, that's what he has in the games, is he's got a pretty dry.
But that doesn't make any sense. He's in like medieval Denmark. Shouldn't he sound like
I know
Mads Mikkelsen or something?
But here's the thing: they all really should be speaking, like,
Danish or whatever.
Yeah. So
I don't care as long as you give me that like ethnically ambiguous European sound. I'll be like Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings. Like he's not English, but he's not American. As long as it's like that, I don't really give a shit. Yeah. I don't even see why it's a big deal to like have a whole Netflix series with a big budget in like a foreign language.
Like in the game,
really
like it's like got these like half the people have like a Cockney accent and the other half have like a French sort of accent,
except for you who speak American.
yeah, and there's like a few that have a dry American accent.
It's weird,
and those are like more so the people in like the main character circle.
Okay, that's weird. It's cool though. I think I'm excited to see this. I think it could be really cool. I'm just bent out of shape that this is what has derailed Henry Cavill being Superman. But if it's good, I won't give a
I
fuck.
think it's cooler than Superman.
Well, remains to be seen. I love him as Superman, so we'll
You'll
see.
never see him you'll never see Henry Cavill in a black Superman costume with a mullet, Rob. I'm sorry.
God damn it.
It's not gonna
It
happen.
just makes me happen. It was in the Snyder Cut, and now it's not. Fucking Joss Whedon. Fucking Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh, I love strong female characters. Fucking idiot.
I think, but what's wrong with strong female characters?
And I know, but he doesn't like them though. That's my point. They're all the same.
Joss Whedon likes to sexualize his strong female characters.
Dude, yeah, to some degree. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yeah.
What a nice little gem of a movie that we stumbled upon there.
Yeah, pretty good. I think it's pretty good.
Got some John Hammond it up. Got some old man.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah. Got what's that one lady's name with the voice?
I can't remember.
Oh, I'm gonna have to control this.
Control. Just get the cast for it, which is fine. Yeah. Did you have any expectations going into this movie? I didn't know this was done by Drew Goddard. If I had known that, I might have been more, like, a little more amped to see it.
I was listening to a couple of podcasts, and John Hamm was on like Dumb People Town, and he was talking about it for just a second.
Yeah, I saw him
about
on
how much fun he had doing the movie. You know,
I saw him on James Corden's show where they have a thing where you have to say something really embarrassing or like a real revealing personal piece of information about your career, like which director do you hate and never want to work with, or you have to eat something really fucking disgusting. And they did that, and he was talking about Bad Times at the El Royale.
So the movie Bad Times at the El Royale is here's the synopsis in case you weren't prepared. It's circa 1968. Several strangers, most with a secret to bury, meet by chance at Lake Tahoe's El Royale, which is it's on the state line between Nevada and California. That's an important detail.
Yeah,
that it hammers through the whole movie.
Is that a real thing?
I don't know. It looked like a real hotel, but it could have been built, you know.
Yeah, it could be like fictitious.
A rundown hotel with a dark past. Over the course of one night, everyone will show their true colors before everything goes to hell. So it's a very whodunity, like,
for a little bit, and then it kind of goes off the rails at the end. But
to me, I was expecting like, based on the trailer itself, I was expecting like Clue mixed with Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
And we kind of got that.
I thought it would be more Quentin Tarantino than Clue.
Right.
And I kind of feel like in the end, I don't know. Well, we'll have to get into spoilers, and I'll talk about that. But yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Cynthia Erivo. Yeah, that's who I was forgetting there.
Is that her name? Cynthia?
Yep.
Is that the actress's name?
That she plays Darlene Sweet.
Darlene.
The singer. Yeah. We got Dakota Johnson playing the runaway hippie woman.
Yeah, the chick from 50 Shades.
John Hamm playing the man. I almost don't want to give it away until we. Like,
we'll just have it on you so we can talk about the characters.
John Hamm playing Laramie Seymour.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Chris Hemsworth, which if you've seen the trailer,
that's my accoutrement.
My accoutrement. I was using that word like the whole week after watching this movie.
Yeah.
Like, don't touch my accoutrement.
Was it proxy to my person or something?
Yes.
Fucking what's the rooster from the Looney Tunes? He's that
Foghorn Leghorn, but as a vacuum cleaner salesman.
Yeah.
My accoutrement is proxy to my person.
Yeah, he's good.
Kaylee Spaney
probably plays the little sister.
Louis Pullman plays the desk clerk and like the only employee at this hotel.
Yeah. He's the only one that gets a character arc in the movie.
Nick Offerman's got a cameo in there at the very beginning of the movie. Kind of sets up the whole tone.
Oh, yeah.
And what the movie's all about.
Yeah. It's weird for him to be in that. It's weird. I don't see him doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Let's get into the goodies. Let's try to talk non-spoilery for a little bit.
All right, Rob. What did you think?
I thought it was really good. I thought the movie was better before it reveals all the stuff that's going to happen.
Do you feel like it reveals it all too soon and too fast?
Kind of. It depends on each character, and also some characters' things are just inherently more interesting.
Well, it sets it up in a Quentin Tarantino way.
Yeah,
Like
but it resolves it in a real kind of less. It you know what I'll
it all unravels
Yeah, but
faster than.
it's less interesting when it gets there, though. It's sort of like when you watch Django and you know Leonardo DiCaprio knows Django's full of shit and he's here to get, what's the actress' name? Her and the German guy, they're there to get his wife and get out, but there's that big 20-minute scene that sort of builds the tension. We don't ever get that. So that part kind of smooths it out, but on the whole, I think it's really good, and it made me remember that Drew Goddard was good at things.
Yeah.
Like Daredevil season 1 and stuff. And Cabin in the Woods. You ever see that movie?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I don't know how I feel about that movie.
Yeah. I like it. It's crazy, but I like it.
I thought that the first half of the movie was great.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a slow burn to the build up.
That's what I love about it, though.
It also made me remember why I like Jeff Bridges so much.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone in this movie that's bad. Maybe
John Hamm isn't in there as much as I would have hoped.
Yes, especially like right when his character gets interesting, they kind of I don't want to. We'll get to that in spoilers, but they sort of devolve the character in a way that I was like, oh man, I was hoping for more of that stuff. But Dakota Johnson, I thought was kind of boring. But her, like I said, the motivations for her character is just fundamentally different than someone like John Hamm or Jeff Bridges,
right?
Or even like what was the name of the bellhop? I know the actor's Lewis Pullman. His name was Caleb or something with a C.
It was Miles Miller.
Miles, yeah. So his
character's great.
Very interesting, yeah. And it's just like the nature of a movie like this.
And the Rose character, the little girl character, is frightening to say the least.
She's frightening, but she's also kind of boring, which I'll get into that in a little bit. But I think all the I loved.
Well, this movie brings a lot of different vibes too. It brings a lot of different vibes from a lot of different.
What was the singer's name again? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off.
The actress or the character?
The character's name.
Yeah, Darlene.
Darlene, she's great too.
Oh yeah. And well, what I was saying, like this movie brings a lot of like I said, set in 1968, and so it brings a bunch of different
tone and
vibes and really like cultures to the mix.
Yep.
So you get all of the, like, you get these cultish, cultures in there. You get these hippie cultures. You get like, older,
yeah, it's a crime-ish caper wrapped around, the Cultural Revolution.
Right.
Yeah. But I love all the vibes that they bring. Like at one point, the movie will feel very much like a horror movie. Just like with the way things are shot and how they feel.
Other times it feels like a full-on thriller or like a crime caper.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just like weird and kind of trippy in a way, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But
and then other times it feels like full-on pulpy.
Yeah.
AKA those Tarantino-y vibes.
Yeah. A lot of those. I feel like a lot of him working on Daredevil helped him with a lot of those kind of gritty, pulpy shots or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah.
I got like I got some like a video game, LA Noire.
Yes, you brought this up before.
Have I?
Yeah, you did it on the True Detective episode.
Sick.
It's all right. Keep going.
Well,
I talk about Zack Snyder all the time.
Well, that's right. Like I got like a lot of those vibes, like these like really old school, like 50s into 60s kind of things going in there. Like it really does that well. This movie.
Yeah.
A soundtrack. Yeah. I would buy the soundtrack. No joke.
I think the soundtrack is good, but I also think, like when I notice this in any movie, whenever someone goes up, like you could look at like Pulp Fiction or anything like this, where a character will go up to a jukebox and he'll hit the thing, and then the song starts to play. I feel like you could pick any song of like the 60s or 70s and people would be like,
it would work.
This is a great soundtrack. So I'm like, I feel like the soundtrack is good, but I'm also like,
well, I think it kind of like,
unless you clicked it and like Cannibal Corpse started playing.
Well, I mean, it also plays off that expectation too. Like when Billy Lee hits the jukebox and he's like, what song is this? And she's like, I think this is Deep Purple. He's like, not my thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
was that Deep Purple? I don't remember that song.
Yeah, it was. It was Deep
cool.
Purple.
I like Deep Purple. Richie Blackmore, baby. Yeah. We didn't even talk about Chris Hemsworth, which feels very appropriate. Did you feel like he was the least interesting character in the movie?
I felt like least interesting, but at the same token, the perfect, can I say, villain for this?
I think it's pretty clear. I watched the trailers and like he definitely has an ominous sort of vibe around him.
Because he brought one of the parts of the culture, like different cultures, to the movie that I think was integral to it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That character.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, you could have
just don't
got
think
somebody else to play it, but who the heck are you going to get that's more charismatic and flaunts a naked belly like Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, I get the vibe that they're going for, and I get the idea. I just don't think it's as well executed as they probably think it is, or at least it's not as explained well enough. Like they sort of, I mean, to sort of beat around the bush, he sort of has a Charles Manson-y vibe.
Yeah,
and I feel like if you didn't know anything about Charles Manson and you watched this movie,
you'd kind of like the guy.
Well, I was kind of going to go the opposite. I'd be like, you wouldn't understand. Like you would, if someone said this is like Charles Manson, like I don't know what that is. The movie doesn't fill in a lot of those gaps.
No,
I feel like you needed more of the backstory.
Well, when I said you kind of like the guy, meaning is like he's charismatic.
Yeah, the first time you meet him, he's charismatic.
Right.
I'll say that, but you don't sort of see the left turn. Charles Manson is essentially a murderer for anyone in the audience or the listeners who don't know who he is, and I feel like that was a big deal when that happened.
Yeah.
But in this, we don't just get some of those details. We get like kind of quick little flashbacks and allusions to it, which I think are good. But I think it's sort of what stops him from being really interesting.
Well, here's the thing: is like it's even. Again, I want to get into spoilers so bad.
We'll talk about some of the some more positives and negatives.
Well, even with that character, it's like brought up in the dialogue that he's not that interesting. Is it not?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So they're self-aware.
Yeah,
they're really self-aware in that moment.
Yeah, or at least the writers of the movie are self-aware. To like, they think by the time we get to the end of the movie, they're like, we're not going to find Chris Hemsworth that interesting at this point.
Right.
And the other characters kind of call that out in a way that I thought was very funny and also very, very succinct.
It's poignant.
Yeah. Other words we don't know the meaning of. Any other kind of quick positives or quick negatives, and then we'll get into spoilers so we can really chomp.
Yeah, I love the color and cinematography in this movie.
Yeah,
like tons of big flashy moments. You know, everything's like bright and crazy, or then like really damp and sterile and dour when it needs to be.
Do you? I felt like there were parts of the movie that really. I mean, not just the set design helps a lot because it looks like a '60s motel or hotel or like kind of fancy. If you were in the 60s, this would be like a high dollar hotel or something.
Right.
And I felt like even the visual quality of the movie to a point kind of reflects that. And then like, except for like, we'll get to this in spoilers. There's one part where it really takes a big right shift into like this guy, Drew Goddard, could do a horror movie if he wanted. He did a horror movie. It was The Cabin in the Woods, but like there was some parts of it where I was like, he really shows some cool, interesting chops and just genuinely kind of unnerving just by the way it's shot.
Yeah, like there are moments that are just leave you totally unsettled.
Yeah, you're just like, ugh. Any other negative before we get into spoilers? Any things that you were just like you didn't think that was very good or as well done? It sort of wraps up really nicely, and
it really does. Great ending.
Yeah, but I will say I would like the movie overall more if we got more of the build up and the payoff was sort of handled more smoothly. That's the only really critique I have. It's like when we don't know what's going on, the movie is more interesting.
Right.
And then as we learn more about what it is, we're like, oh, that's fine. But it's good, but it's not as interesting as it was before then.
Well, we can say this without it being a spoiler also. Like the movie is cut into different like parts or acts.
Yes.
You know, and it you know, each of the we'll call them the patrons of this hotel receive like a room. They all gather at the very beginning and they all get their rooms. They go their separate ways into their rooms, and each part or act follows each room.
Yeah.
Subsequently.
I thought the room was interesting because because we essentially saw this movie 1.5 times.
Yeah.
So like when we saw the movie the second time,
you were looking for shit.
I was paying attention to the opening scene. I was like, I'm paying attention to every detail of the room. How is the window? Because the windows are done in like these weird parallel slits, and I was like, this one's going down, but this room's going up. So it's not in this room. It's in the like. It was a lot of that stuff. But yeah. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
I thought that John Hamm was really great in this movie.
The whole 15 minutes he was in it.
Yeah, and then I felt like, first of all, when he died, I was like, that feels like a big waste of potential. I feel like if I was writing it, I would find a way to keep him in it till a little longer. And I felt
I also it kind of makes sense in the point of he's probably the most capable person out of that, like just across the board capable person out of all those patrons. And it makes sense to kill him off early so that way they're kind of all left on their own in more of the chaos.
Sure.
Like he would have brought some of the shit under control.
When he moves into his room and his accent changes, I was like, what's going on here?
I knew immediately. I was like, this guy's a spy. This guy's a government agent, something.
But we don't ever get a real reason as to why he's there. And I felt like
we do. We do. And we have to infer it a little bit because
he's getting recording devices.
Well, and he's looking for secrets in general. And yes, the big secret was when he finds that film camera in the hallway behind all the two-way mirrors in all the rooms.
Yeah.
You know, the sex camera or whatever.
Yeah.
He immediately looks through the film roll to see if there's anything in it.
Yeah.
So he was looking for that film roll of the picture of the film of that, quote, important guy.
Do you think that's true, or do you think he just sort of stumbled into that?
Because I think he was there looking for either that or just secrets in general.
I have a slightly different take. When he got into his room, he immediately knew that there were bugs in it.
Right.
Because
I mean, he was just checking for bugs just offhandedly, I think, as part of like his training or whatever. Like,
I think that
if you're a fucking government guy, what are you going to do as soon as you get into your hotel room? Check for bugs.
Didn't he say in that phone call with the superior that those are their bugs that they put him there? Or was it the opposite? Like, these are not our bugs. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh, he works for a government intelligence agency, probably for like Joseph McCarthy, and they're using that room to spy on people. Like whenever a politician
I think he said
there.
that some of them are ours and some aren't. So I think there was a combination.
Okay, yeah. So I looked at it as like the reason he was like doing all that was because his agency or whoever, because we don't ever know if he's CIA or whatever, I think. But I think the implication is there's a part where they're showing lots of like newsreels and stuff. This is like just before the time of like Watergate and stuff happened.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to allude to the fact like he was working for superiors and they would like politicians would come there, and it was back in the day it was a big deal, so they would spy on them and see if they had anything they could do to blackmail them with or anything like that. And that's sort of where I thought that came from. And I think he inadvertently stumbles onto the sex camera, but he knows they're using that hotel to spy on politicians, so he knows that in that camera there might be some really big details. Also, that whole scene where he discovers the downstairs thing is very tense. Like the way it's shot and the music and stuff, and like he turns on Darlene's room and she sings this really nice R&B song.
Yeah,
but it's juxtaposed.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get this nice juxtaposition of like this happy music, and then on the opposite wall, this dark, seedy shit going on.
Yeah, and I wanted this movie is I want everything the movie gives me. I wanted just a little bit more of. I think that if there's a criticism I have of it, and I think it's
so you want it
great.
Just a little more soaked in vibes, because I feel like it's already swimming in them.
It is. It's not necessarily the vibe. I just want more information, and I want more of the characters, and I want more of everything.
Well, I'll play the devil's advocate here. I think that kind of helps the movie. The fact that it leaves a bunch of things vague, like you don't know who's in the film reel. You don't know, like why. You know, like who the clerk's superiors are. You don't know a lot of things, and I think that kind of helps to the mystique of the movie itself.
The synopsis implies that everyone in the movie is sort of running from something. What was like Darlene's thing? Was she running away from something? Or
she was running from failure, man.
Yeah,
like she was actually the only, and like you would also want to wager that the hippie chick, but she was running from the cult.
Yeah.
And I think Darlene is the only character in the movie that actually, for lack of a better word, like not necessarily naive, but at least like sort of pure of heart.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
She's the hero of the movie.
Yeah. Because the hippie chick certainly isn't. She murders John Hamm later.
Yep. Well, I feel like she's more neutral than, like, if you want to put this in like D&D terms, You could easily give every single one of these characters an alignment.
Yeah.
You know, John Hamm is fucking chaotic good.
No, he's lawful neutral. Lawful neutral in D&D is like if you're a stern, forthright minister of justice, but if your judge orders you to like burn a house down,
Okay,
with
I
people
can
inside,
dig that.
he would
Sure,
probably-
lawful
he'd
neutral.
Probably do that.
Dakota Johnson's character, definitely a true neutral.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe not for moral reasons, but
Fine, Darlene's chaotic good.
yeah. And I feel like how would you do Jeff Bridges then? Because he doesn't seem like he's a bad guy, but you know he's just trying to get. At the beginning of the movie, we see him.
Her and him are both chaotic good.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, you called that Jeff Bridges was coming back for the money.
Yep.
At the money at the beginning, which I was like,
Called it.
very good. Yeah, Nick Offerman shows up and kills him. Was that who that was, or was he playing Nick Offerman?
We don't know who shows up and kills Nick Offerman's character, who's burying the money underneath the floorboard at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
You don't see his face or anything. I automatically would just assume it's just a lawman of some sort who caught up with him.
I thought it was like a rival gangster, but yeah, that's cool. Poor Nick Offerman, he gets shot through the chest.
Blammo.
Yeah. Let's talk.
And it really, if we're talking about tone and vibes, man, that totally sets the damn tone of this movie, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Kills it, nails it.
Were there any parts of this movie? I guess what I'm saying is, were there any parts of this movie where you would be like, I'll trade in this scene for a little bit more of this scene? Like, I would have liked more of the Chris Hemsworth stuff, like, because we see him sort of recruit Dakota's little sister, and makes her one of his crazy, Mansonite followers, acolytes, yeah. And it goes from he's a nice guy to he makes her savagely fight another woman towards maybe he tricks her into killing somebody.
Yep.
Yeah, we only see that for like 2 frames. We see her standing over some dude's body with a bloody knife, and we're meant to assume.
Well, we see those
Chris
newsreels going on the TV about like these murders in Hollywood,
Yeah.
so it's supposed to definitely mirror Charles Manson like to a T.
I would have liked, but
the idea that he makes like a 12-year-old girl do is just that more sinister, and it's
Yeah.
supposed to build towards his sinisterness, but. Again, you're right. It doesn't really come off as that.
Yeah, if I'm an idiot, and I am, I don't know that in the movie. Like, if I'm watching that, I'm like, okay. I remember I said to you, like, that's probably Chris Hemsworth's character. And it is, but it's not handled in a way that's, like, super interesting.
Like, we see the flashback where he, like, finds her on the beach, and you get these, like, pedophilic vibes.
Yes.
So that makes him...
Rapey Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. That makes him... very distasteful, for lack of a better word, in there, and so you get these hints that he's a much worse guy than how he's acting.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I just wanted a little bit more of like a clear cut idea. Because here's the thing about like Charles Manson, you can
it's a little half baked.
Yeah, you can research Charles Manson and find out what he actually believed and stuff. I don't know what Chris Hemsworth believed. Something about religion and if we choose to not be.
Well, here's the thing, Darlene hit it nail on the head. He's just a guy who just wants what he wants or whatever.
Which I thought was great. She's like, you're full of shit and you don't know what you believe.
So if you put your criticism up next to the fact that they were so self-aware enough to put it in that line of dialogue like that, then it was kind of probably on purpose that he was a little milquetoast.
It definitely makes it better. And there's a literal part of the movie where there's 2 parts that I really liked. One was Jeff Bridges says, "Don't sing for him." And what this son of a bitch is gonna do whatever he fucking wants to do, and it doesn't matter. If we do something for him or not, he's gonna do it, but he doesn't deserve to hear your voice. And I was like, that was a great line.
Yes,
and
sweet.
I love that. And I also love the part where Chris Hemsworth is about to start lecturing Darlene again, and she just goes, "I don't care."
She's like, "I heard it before."
Yeah, she cuts him off.
She's like, "Whatever you got to say isn't interesting or whatever."
Yeah, kills Dakota Johnson's character, who I was kind of fine with. Like, I knew that. First of all, I knew that was coming because I was like, she's a kind of not for trying to protect.
I felt kind of bad for her, man. Like, I felt like she had one of the hardest reps of this whole movie. Like,
yeah,
she's really just trying to like.
She's real cold and unlikable. So when it kind of happens, you're kind of like,
that's true.
Eh.
Like, she signs the ledger as What does she sign it
Fuck
as?
you.
Fuck you. I was like, oh, that's who this is.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked that.
Like she kidnaps her own sister,
To get her away
puts
from him.
puts duct tape over and straps her to a chair just to get her away from the, like, she's willing to do all these heinous things in the name of trying to do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes makes perfect sense actually. Let's talk a little bit more about Jeff Bridges. We haven't talked to him much. He's really good here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was. Every time
He
was
comes posed as a priest, right?
Yeah.
And in reality, he's actually there to dig up the money that him and his brother had burgled from an armored car years before.
He heard Darlene singing. Do you think? I actually have a theory that he heard her singing and he was actually sincere about wanting to like have lunch with her or whatever.
I think he was.
Because if you see
And I
when,
think that
when
he
John Hamm is walking through that hallway and you hear her singing, there's a part where it focuses on Jeff Bridges and he kind of
he's
stops
just
what he's
kinda
doing
like-
and kind of listens to
Yep.
her. Either that or he was having one of those like amnesia.
Well, here's the thing: his head's all
Alzheimer's.
his head's all cocked back, his mouth's agape, and we learned that could either have been because he was so struck by her singing, or that he was so damn frustrated that he got the wrong room.
Yeah, I think it was the
Both.
first one. Yeah,
I think it's a little of both.
yeah.
But I think like his idea to slip her a Mickey in order to get into the room, like he even explains it like that's not something I wanted to do, or that wasn't even my first thought.
And I didn't have ulterior motive. Well, I did have ulterior motives, but
it wasn't to
I wasn't
to
trying
do
to like
dirty
sexually,
things. Yeah. So I think that out of all of them, he's like, aside from his ruse as being a minister, is like one of the most honest.
Yeah.
So
And-
he like it's good that him and Darlene make it towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, I like the idea. Yeah, they do a good job of making us root for the two of them, which is weird because I really like John Hamm, but I kind of knew
it also makes you want to root for the clerk too, even
Yeah.
though he's like
he's the only one that gets like a real character arc, I think.
there's a
Maybe
lot
Darlene
of I had a
does.
lot of sympathy pulling for that guy. Like,
Yeah, and at first I was like, is he some weird, like, when Jeff Bridges shows up and he's like, Father, you shouldn't be here. At first I was like, does he actually know who he is? Or is he keeping
Right,
it quiet?
right.
Like they do that. And then they reveal that he's a drug addict, which has to do with like people coming back from Vietnam and they would get addicted to opioids and stuff because he was apparently, it's revealed in the movie,
he was a sniper or whatever.
Yeah, he was either in Vietnam or Korea. And yeah, it's revealed he had a really hard time with a lot of the people that he killed, and I thought that was handled extremely well. I also like the fact that Jeff Bridges beats the shit out of Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He gets beat up by a 70-year-old Alzheimer's-ridden old man.
With a burning
Yeah,
log.
take that, rapey Chris Hemsworth. That mustache. Yeah. What is some other stuff? Yeah, he's the only one that gets a good character arc, and I even liked the way that
I loved like in the beginning how when Ham's characters ask him to give him the spiel about the hotel.
Yeah.
Like, you need to stay in sunny California or Nevada side of the hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he's so fucking happy to like
it's my favorite
get up
part of my
there.
job.
It's like, oh, I get to
then
structure.
Dakota, then
like,
Dakota Johnson takes that away from him.
yeah, he's like,
Remember,
oh.
he gets to do it again, and she's like,
It's like-
that one. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I was gonna do the thing.
I thought that was so cute and great.
A lot of great for a movie that it has so much great dialogue. Yeah, I think this is why that negative part frustrates me.
What is it again?
My accoutrement. he pops
My
up from-
accoutrement is proxy to my person.
Yeah,
God damn
John
it.
Hamm, like a Muppet, pops up from behind the bar. That's my accoutrement.
It's so great.
And I will respect you guys to give me my first come, first served. I get the bridal suite. Is what he's trying to say.
Right.
I was here first. Yeah, he makes them all some coffee. He does a good job at being very unlikable on purpose.
Right.
Because when we get to know who he actually is, he's not very unlikable.
He's very sweet and
Yeah, he's got a
doing
kid.
his patriotic duty and
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this movie is like this movie is like bits and pieces, but the bits and pieces are all really great.
I just love how well everyone wears their own masks. It's like acting on acting on acting, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
yes.
Playing a character through a character. Like
Yeah.
it's really good stuff.
I was gonna say something else. One more thing. What did I forget? Oh, I like at the end that he when Lewis dies, Jeff Bridges' character
Finally gives him his
rights. He
his
gives
last
him
rights.
absolution, but he even though he's not a priest, I feel like it's a cynical thing because if you're an atheist, and I think it's pretty clear that Jeff Bridges' character is an atheist,
Right.
But there's something to be said for the fact that he'll tell a comforting lie to someone looking at his own death in a few moments. And I don't know if I'm reading too much into that, but I think
that's what makes him a good guy, man.
Yeah, and I think that was handled really well. And when he died, I felt really like, oh man, I feel like you feel like happy that he gets the thing that he needs, but also you feel
kind of
sad.
knocks the wind out of you.
Yeah. I just want more. I just want more fucking answers. Who are his people that Lewis was working?
That's the fucking sexiness of the movie.
Yeah,
that's the sex, bro.
Yeah, and that's why I said like the movie is better. The less questions you have answered, the better it gets, or the worse it gets. Or wait,
the more that gets revealed,
the less good the movie is. Because
Okay.
they don't ever follow it through all the way. So when the movie is vague and weird in the beginning, you're like, this is 5-star. This is fantastic. And then like as it goes on, you're like, so Chris Hemsworth is a cult leader and John Hamm was maybe working for the CIA and Lewis was maybe working for
But that's
who?
the point, is that like none of that stuff really matters in relation to the main story that's being told.
Yeah,
And the
I agree
main
with
story that's being told is Darlene's story and the pseudo priest's story.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And they're the ones who get their great ending. They're the ones that get their happy ending.
Yeah.
And it feels well deserved.
It does feel well deserved. That's good. I feel like this is like the kind of movie Tarantino would make if he didn't do like a bunch of cocaine before he did all his movies. I feel like if Quentin Tarantino looks like he slams his head into like a giant vat of cocaine and then he writes a 4-hour script for The Hateful Eight.
Like, what's the only Tarantino movie that even ends in, sort of a feel-good moment? I would
Probably
honestly
Kill Bill.
wager that...
She gets her daughter back.
Yeah, okay, Kill Bill, and I would say Pulp Fiction to a degree.
I'm trying to remember how Pulp Fiction
Because it ends with the diner scene,
Yeah,
which
that's right.
which again is out of place in relation to how all these characters end.
But it's a redemptive end, though, is what I'm
right,
thinking about it.
right.
And so is Kill Bill, actually.
It is.
She kills her dad, but it's a big moment because he does the ultimate 5-finger twisting heart technique or whatever.
Right.
And he was very proud of her when it happens. That's good. What are the other ones?
None of the other ones.
How does Hateful Eight end?
Pretty sadly.
Everybody died. Everyone's dead. That's how it ends. Even Kurt Russell.
Inglorious Bastards.
They kill the not. Brad Pitt is still alive, and they carve a thing into what's his face's head. So just desserts.
But even Inglorious Bastards still doesn't feel like hurrah. It's
it
feel
feels
a little flat.
It feels cynical
Yeah.
and kind of ugh in a way.
Mhm.
Because the idea that like we would make deals with Nazis to win the war is like, oh no. And what was the other one I was gonna say? Django ends pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite part of Django is actually, I know it's gonna seem kind of shitty to say because it's a movie about like slavery and like the black experience or whatever of the time, but my favorite
in
character,
Quentin Tarantino's mind, what he was trying to do was give
a role to a black hero.
he was trying to make a black superhero essentially.
And I thought it was good, but my favorite character is still Christoph Waltz's character.
It's everyone's favorite character.
Yeah, he's great. I still love the scene where he says, "You want me to shake your hand?" to Leo DiCaprio, and then he pulls the Dillinger out and shoots him anyway. Just go fuck yourself, you racist piece of shit. That's pretty good. Yeah, and when he dies, there's this great moment where Jamie Foxx, like he snuck back into the to Candyland.
When also like it's after seeing that guy play a bad guy so many times, or I really liked seeing him play like a good-hearted good guy.
Yeah, because he does everything for the right. Does everything for the right reasons, and that's why it's so sad when he's the one that dies, and it's why one of my favorite moments is when Django sneaks back into Candyland, he finds his dead body. And there's this really nice little beat where he just puts his hand on him and says, "Auf Wiedersehen." And I was like, oh, this guy that saved his life and gave him his freedom and stuff. It's very good. Some people have been very patronizing about that, saying like, so really the white dude is the big character because he saves Django and Django couldn't do any of this without him. And I was like, you're not looking at it close enough.
What Django needs is a sequel.
I'd watch a Django sequel.
I would watch a Django
that was supposed
sequel.
to be Will Smith. instead of Jamie Foxx.
I'm glad it was Jamie Foxx.
Me too. Doesn't work.
Well, because Will Smith would have demanded too many lines. I think it's better that Django is, has the less lines and is more of a silent type character that works better
Yeah.
towards the actual
I feel
character.
like Will Smith could do it,
Sure, he could do it,
but I feel
but
like
I'd rather see Jamie Foxx in that role.
yeah, I've never seen Will Smith do someone who's like full of rage. Like even like a
No, he's too happy of a person.
yeah, even Deadshot, he's like a smart ass kind of wise assy
Yeah,
guy. And
he's not cynical enough.
yeah, I want to see him play like a real piece of shit. Bright's he's kind of a piece of shit in Bright.
Yeah,
But I feel like
I don't think Bright got enough credit, to be quite honest.
yeah, David Ayer did that, who you said you didn't like.
I don't.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of things wrong with that movie, but there's a lot of things that are like, yeah.
Yeah. What's the things that are wrong with it? What time is it? Yeah, it's about time to wrap up. We can talk about it for a little bit.
Well, I feel like all the like differences between all the races and stuff, and like some of that's just a little corny and a little ham-fisty.
It's really heavy-handed.
Yeah.
As a movie.
I don't like the bad guys in that movie are terrible.
Yeah. Really, the whitest of all white people.
Well, no, I just mean like the way, like the specific elves or whatever
Yeah.
that are going after him or whatever. Like, I like all the gang shit. That stuff's cool.
Yeah,
I
think at first when the movie starts, I kind of roll my eyes at it, especially because like one of the big elements about like racism or whatever, like especially going back, it's very similar to like an effect in Django.
Like none of it's subtle. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
but
all.
I think it gets more subtle as it goes on, but it starts
Sure.
off super over the top. You remember that scene in Django where Leo DiCaprio brings the skull out and he says, "Here are these 3 dimples in black people's skulls."
Yeah, it
where
made you
they're
feel
really
super fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it's also why I love when Christoph Waltz brings up like you have a lot of books here written by Alexander Dumas, and you called one of your favorite slaves D'Artagnan for the 3 Musketeers, and he goes,
He's a black Frenchman.
yeah, and he was like, Alexander Dumas was black, right? And he just kind of stops mid-eat of his smug white cake, the whitest of all racist cakes or whatever, and he's just like, and then he just sits there feeling like, because he's a fucking idiot. Like that's why
Right.
that scene's so great, is because he's racists are stupid people usually, and that's why I love that scene. I found it a little queasy that the main point of Bright is that orcs, who are essentially our stand-in for black people, are physically stronger and by their nature more savage and scary. And I was
Right.
kind of like, that seems a little.
Here's
I
the
get
thing,
what you're
here's the thing. I don't think that.
Like, I get the point,
I think
but-
what it is I don't feel like the orcs are standing for black people and the elves are standing for white people. I don't think that at all. I think they're just extra to what we already have.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, literally they are,
And that
because there
they're-
are black people,
And that
the world of
they're
Bright.
like on polar. They're like, all right, if humans have like their multicultural aspects or whatever, we need 2 even further poles from that, and
Sure.
those are what those are.
Yeah.
Is the super elite and the super low on the totem.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more of a what you would call like a racial thing, and more like these like vertical divisions, of class.
Yeah, and it's heart's in the right place
Because we don't talk about class in America much. We
Yeah.
just think that anybody can reach. You just didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
And that's not really true.
Yeah, I think the movie is less concerned with that than maybe you think it is, but I agree with what you're saying. I hate that it's written by Max Landis, because I've been over this. I think he's a real piece of shit.
Yep.
I would watch a sequel. I hope they do one, and
They're gonna.
I want more. I want the history, and I want more mythology.
Yeah.
Like, remember the
Because
part,
we didn't get enough of that. We didn't get enough of like the guy with the sword with the prophecy.
the Dark
and-
Lord, and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I want the Lord of the Rings history. I want to see where the orcs go from fighting on the evil side, and was it Jarak kind of leads them all on a revolution and makes them join the humans and the elves. I want to see like a big, huge Middle Earthy opening like that.
Yeah.
Just like that. Yeah, that'll be dope. There's little that one scene where it's he's the other elf, but he's like the good elf, and he's like investigating after the
detective
evil elf.
guy, yeah.
And there's the part where they interview that crazy madman with the sword,
Mhm.
and he talks about like the Dark Lord, and he's coming back, and we're gonna need brights to stop him, and magic, and we are the shield of light. And I want more of that crazy Illuminati shit, and I want less people solving crimes. That's what I want.
Sure.
Well, That does it today, folks, for another episode of The Movie Date with Rob and Zach, a podcast for people who love movies but don't want to be too smug about it. From the heart of Horizon Studios, please like us on Facebook and YouTube.
Give those likes.
And Podbean.
Throw some comments on there, too. Tell us what you want us to watch and comment on.
Yeah. No, because they'll just say, like, do more superhero stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which
we're trying to get away from that a little bit.
There's no superhero movies till, like, December, so we have a month of no superheroes.
Yeah, we're going to watch some good old Oscar bait shit.
Yeah. I'm excited for Widows. The guy who did that movie is 5 stars. He did 12 Years a Slave. He did that movie called Hunger with Michael Fassbender, which I think is criminally underrated. It's a movie so good I could only watch it once. That's how good it was. I'll never watch it again because it's just
like
long.
Schindler's List or something.
Yeah, because it's a movie about a guy slowly starving to death in the
yeah.
worst environment ever. So like I was like, I can't watch this ever again. But it was really great. Yeah. Are you excited? Do you have anything you want to plug? Doing the thing?
Yeah. If you're in the Little Rock area, I'll be doing a kind of like a roast battle-y type show. We're going to be putting this on more in the future. It's called You Look Like. Started in Memphis, and now it has multiple stations in, I think, Atlanta and like one in Austin.
Are you participating, or are you actually going to be?
I'm going to be a part of it, so
Nice.
I'm going to be able to
get your roast game.
it's all the thing is it's all based around the phrase "you look like." So before everything you say, it's "you look like." Blah 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 blah.
You can't say anything else.
Well, that's the point of it. Okay, and it's actually a really funny show. I attended one about a week ago, and it was hilarious. So I can't wait to write some mean shit about my friends.
I saw David's Facebook.
That's going to
status.
be on, I think, the 9th, Sunday. I don't.
Is this at the joint Looney Bin?
I don't know yet.
Okay,
but if you follow me on the social medias, Facebook Zach Sicking, I will. Have that information soon.
Yeah. I saw your comment on David Bear's sunset in Arizona.
Yeah.
This beautiful sunset through this really gross mosquito tainted windshield.
See more of that Arizona
Gross.
sunset if you didn't have more shit on your windshield.
You know what I'm stoked for? The new Castlevania series on Netflix.
Have you seen the first season?
Yes. It's very good.
I haven't watched it. I need to. As a gamer, I need to watch that.
It's solid. It's only like 6 episodes. That's the only thing about it is like when you get to the end, you're like, oh, this wasn't long enough. But like it's sort of like it's the opening 6 episodes of what should be like a 30 season. But apparently this next season is going to be a lot more. It's got like some of the best animation you'll ever see, and these big.
We talking like Attack on Titan level like animation?
I think it looks better to me. Like it has these big watercolor gothic backgrounds for everything. It looks so like big castles and stuff.
That's cool.
And it's Alucard shows up at the very end.
Nice.
To like join forces. It's him and Trevor Belmont and some other person, and they're going after Dracula, who's played by a guy named Graham McTavish. I think it's funny because Trevor Belmont is played by Richard Armitage, and they were both in the Hobbit movies together as dwarves. So it's kind of like they both came back together for this thing.
Let's go to Transylvania.
Yeah, and it's written by one of my favorite comic book writers, Warren Ellis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's working on it.
Well,
Which apparently was like a 10-year odyssey for getting this thing made. But it looks great. You should watch it, and it's pretty.
We should give a peek at the next movie on the podcast. We will rock you guys.
Oh yeah, that's
with
right.
Our next
say
podcast.
Widows. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. We have time to talk about. Yeah,
our first music biopic. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I want to see it. I want to see how good. I bet you it's good.
I did delve a little bit into spoiler territory on this movie. I mean, like you could go through the life of
Just
Freddie Mercury,
Wikipedia,
and know that. But I was looking through the Rolling Stones article about what was accurate and what was not, and there are a few things that they fudged.
Sure, I don't care. I don't care about that. A movie is a movie. A movie is meant to entertain you. Like, there's a bunch of stuff in like I think like the Ray Charles movie with Jamie Foxx. It's not accurate. I was like, I don't care. I think it's a great movie. I am happy that like this movie went through a long time to get made because at first a lot of the members of Queen and their estate were like they didn't want it to get made because it's going to be the Freddie Mercury show.
I mean, I'm more excited to see like the genius of Brian May. Honestly,
yeah, and I'm glad
I want to see some of his story.
All the trailers I've seen have been very much like, yeah, it is kind of about Freddie Mercury, but like Queen was a big band and there was a lot of stuff that went into why it was so good. And I was like, I don't just want to watch a Freddie Mercury biopic. So I was glad that it kind of looks to split the difference because now I think Brian May came out in like an interview and he was was like, yeah, we were kind of against it being made for a while until it sort of got to a way that we felt was fair to everybody that worked so hard and all this stuff. And he goes,
Right.
look, obviously we love Freddie Mercury. He was our front man for decades. So that's, yeah, I'm stoked to see it. And
Can't wait to discuss it.
yeah, it was supposed to be originally Sacha Baron Cohen was supposed to be Freddie Mercury.
I'm cool with Malik.
Yeah, me too. I just think it'd be interesting.
Well, time to sign off.
Yeah.
Wait, I've been Zach.
And I have been Rob.
All right.
Goodbye.